Supply and demand, need I really say else when we start to talk about these charts? Now tomorrow, just so you know, we have PPI data coming out, but as I'm looking from the outside in, I don't have too high of expectations looking forward to these release days. We went over why CPI grew, which is bad for inflation overall, but when we look at the charts, like I said in yesterday's video, there is a disconnect between technicals and fundamentals. At the point and at the moment right now, technicals point to upside and fundamentals point at downside. So right now, my viewpoint, I don't want to waste your time. Before we get into anything specifically here on the channel, fundamentally, I believe we are prepared for a drop. So when we look at bonds, DXY, look at, everything in between, right? Those look ready for downside. But when we look at the indexes, before we even dive in, they continue to look very strong. So that's what I want you to understand before we even dive into this video today. Now, before we go any further, I'm gonna also ask you to do two things: like and subscribe. Every single day, I'm making videos for you so you are prepared, right? I'm trying to give you the unbiased viewpoint. Yesterday, what did I tell you? It's like, look, fundamentally, CPI, terrible, right? But guess what? We have to continue to look at the technicals and the upside potential. Whether people are going to get mad or not, I got to tell you, the viewer, the truth every single day when you step up to the plate and when you show up to this channel. You know you're going to get the God's honest truth from me, and I'm never going to sugarcoat. I'm going to tell you exactly how I see it. That's what you get here. The Twitter link is down below. But this also brings me into something else, and we haven't really been advertising this. This is really just for old Discord members. If you basically decided to leave, we would put you into our newsletter. But now we're kind of going to open this up to the public. Like I said, we're doing more and more free content here on the channel, right? We've been focused on the live streams. We've been focused on adding new use cases to the website. More education stuff will be free and be coming to you very soon there. But this is the newsletter. Every single week we drop this, and we're going to start doing more throughout the week also. So don't just think, hey, I'm going to sign up for a newsletter and get a bunch of ads and join my Discord, right? No, we're going to give you the hottest stocks of the week, what's happening in the economic calendar, everything to keep you ready, right? Every single Sunday night, Monday, we release these, so make sure you check them out. Now, let's get back to the chart. So when we look at what's happening here, first of all, timeout. I'm not calling a tech, I'm saying timeout. If you have not been prepared or not ready for what's happening here on the market, just to let you know, on Twitter, where do we post this? This is from February 13th. So this is yesterday. I've had this posted for some time here on my Twitter, so you guys are prepared. So I just want you to understand that supply and demand, crazy as it sounds, tends to work pretty solid. So all these charts have been here so y'all are ready and y'all understand. Now, when we look at what's happening here on the chart, you're clearly just coming into supply, you're finding sellers, okay? So what do we expect at these levels? When we come into demand, we expect to find buyers in order to get a bounce. If we do not get a strong reaction from buyers, then what do we expect? We expect more downside and to fall through that said demand. Now, right now, we've been coming in once, twice, three times, rejected, okay? And then guess what? Push back up here to the end of the day today. Boom. We're getting rejected near the top, but we're very close to invalidating this level. And something I want you to be ready for and to be watching. And this is why I said fundamentally in yesterday's video, I hate it. I hate it. I look at this thing and I'm just like, you can't make me like it. You can't make me. But that doesn't stop me from trading it, because God bless America. It's like you can only win when you're trading the upside lately, right? And so when we look at what's happening here, you can clearly see, and we're going to just really quick draw, you're making your higher lows continuously. And if you continue to make higher lows and higher highs on a 1 hour, 2 hour, small, long, whatever chart it is, you have to be in a bullish structure. You have to identify that. Now, when we take a bigger look here and we go out to something like the daily chart, we can see we're in a bull flag. Now, I mentioned this yesterday, and you're kind of holding outside of this flag now. You're trying to break above supply. And this video is made a little bit early, so we're gonna have more data coming out before the end of the day. I gotta make this because we have a workshop in Discord. So I just have to push this out a little bit earlier today. But as we look at this, you still look good. Now, does this mean that you have to break up? Because we do not have confirmation yet. And I wanna make this really clear. You cannot say, or I can't say, that this looks necessarily like you have to push up, because there's not the confirmation yet, okay? There is not the confirmation that you're held this yet. But if you start to break out of supply here and get above 12.7, I do think you're gonna break to the upside. It looks that good. So when we look at this, I'm coming to the conclusion right now, we're dangerously close to that breakout. And if this happens, you're going to get a lot of love here. Now, going over to SPY, because I know a lot of you guys love the SPY. Very similar structure, bull flag, kind of consolidating sideways, trying to push up here as well. Now, a big thing that we look for here is declining volume with breakout volume to the upside. So tomorrow we have PPI, and this leads me to a few questions and concerns, if you will. So we look at SPY. Let's get the volume in the past few days. A lot of declining volume, really low. So on the sell side, we've obviously had, the high 99 and then low, 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 low. Yesterday was some good bullish volume. Okay, we had some good bullish with the low 408. We ended up closing at around 413. Solid day, good day. We started breaking back towards that upside, as you can see right here. So 408, sorry, 413. Kind of had like the similar day from yesterday, but you can see what's happening there. We had highs of 415, and then today we kind of slowed down a little bit, right? So we definitely, and you're probably going to end the day around 50, 60 million, right? Volume. And we have about an hour, 30 minutes left in the day. So around probably 55 roughly. You need more volume to confirm a breakout, specifically from a bull flag. And that's why I continue to say you have to be watching what's happening here, okay? You have to be prepared. You have to be ready for what's happening in this market. And right now, we're not getting that confirmation yet, specifically based on volume. It seems like I harp around volume on the bear side most of the time. But again, I'm unbiased here, guys. I try to tell you that. I'm unbiased. Supply and demand, volume, price action, it's constant. It's never changing. It's always the same. The strategies never change. If I ever have to twist something to my liking, guess what? It's probably Fugazi. It's probably snake oil, okay? You should never believe me if I start manipulating charts to see my viewpoint. I always want to look at a chart and say, okay, is there a chance that I could be wrong on this chart? Because if there's a chance that I could be wrong, then the chances I shouldn't be in that trade, right? Because I'm going into it with a viewpoint or a overall strategy that may be skewed against me. And I always want to minimize my risk, right? That's what we always talk about, risk to reward. You want to make sure your reward opportunity always outweighs your risk opportunity. Understand that, number one, most of all. So what are we talking about here? Okay, we're looking for the breakup. We want to see increased volume into this breakup if we're going to get it. If not, we have to assume we get that downside. Okay, so going into tomorrow, giving you a visual of the indexes so you can have a clear-cut answer as you go into tomorrow. I'm going to tell you right now, you want to see a break and hold above this level right here around 1273. If you can get above that, but I'm going to tell you now, you just come back into these other areas because you still have a lot of supply up here, right? You can argue, again, 4-hour supply right here, locally around 12.8 to around 12.76. Small, but still there. But what I'm going to say though, I anticipate if you can break out of this 12.7 and hold with increased volume, it would push you through that supply. I'm going to tell you that right now. It's my opinion. But that's what I'm looking at. As of right now, this is the most important supply because we've been here for 2 days and we've been getting rejected. And so right now, I wouldn't be too aggressive on the call side unless you start to see the follow through. If you start to see follow through, then you're aggressive. Now, what about plays? What about plays we mentioned yesterday? What about stock plays that are coming in? And this might be a little quick for you guys, right? And we're going to come back. We're going to look at some of this flow here in a second. But what about some of those plays we mentioned yesterday? What about Google, right? Yesterday we talked about Google, right? It was at the tippity top of the list. It was at the top of the list because we loved it. And what did we like about it? We loved the risk to reward. What did that mean? We liked the downside opportunity, right? Because the downside had very minimal risk, right? When we were looking down here, we were basically targeting go to something like the 15 minutes so you can get a visual of the day. You can see though, we were targeting it. We said, look, we got that great 92.25 bounce. And you're saying, Tyler, why did you mark that level? Is that just a random level you made up? No, it is not. If you go to the weekly level, you can come all the way back out. It is your swing high that you had right here in November 2020. This is why key levels are so relevant. You can see 92.32. And let's zoom back into around the 15-minute chart so you have that. As you come back in, guess what? Bippity boppity, right at the toppity. And as you can see, we're trying to push back up. Now, coming into today, where do we open up? And I told you again, I was transparently clear. So I said, favorite play on the book. Going into this, boom, right here. You open up the day, come down a little bit. You go from 94 all the way almost to highs of 97. Pat on the back because you absolutely killed it today. A lot of people saying kudos. And for the people wondering, Tyler, are you lying to me? Are you this? Are you that? No. Go look. Comments on right here. Good call on Google. Weekly's up 80% today. Don't trust me, trust the viewers, right? That's what I always say. I'm not here for signals. I'm here to be an indicator, if that. I am not financial advice. I'm just trying to bring things to your attention and hopefully give you an edge when you look at the market. So what are we looking at going forward here? Now, you're coming up to a big level, so be careful there. Now, favorite play right now. Type it in. Not AAA. We're going Apple, boys. Apple. Now, Apple had some interesting news on the day. Kind of had some bad news, right? You had an antitrust lawsuit type come in, or they're being probed and looking into see if they were promoting their apps over other apps in the App Store, right? Now, let's talk about this. Let's talk about what's happening here. Let's go about to 2 hour. Let's zoom out. Let's take a way back. When we look here, you saw it. I didn't see it. You saw it. You got that. It's the bull flag. You're breaking out, bouncing, trying to push up. What we're looking for here, if you can hold above 154.7, that is a key level. You want and expect to see a push to local highs around 157.5. Now, this is where things get interesting. And this is what leads me into believing SPY has a lot of room. Looking at the 4 hour, you have a clear bull pennant on the 4 hour time frame, and you are breaking up into this major level, right? So we're looking to see, can you break above 157.7? I think it will be tested pretty soon. And that's what I'm playing right now. But then you come and you say, well, Tyler, what's the next level? You start to get pretty illiquid up to 164. Now, am I saying you're going to go to 164? No, putting words in my mouth. But you get into opportunity and you start to get into a level of illiquidity, right? Giving you some examples of plays that we liked just like this, okay? Look at something like NVIDIA. Remember, we talked about it. All this illiquidity basically from 192 up to supply zone around 215 and then easily back to 227. Remember, hey, Don't you forget now. We've been talking about NVIDIA for a while. NVIDIA mounts 228, 227 range. I got to clean my hands because I'll be murdering it like O.J. Simpson and I'll be on trial. That's all I'm saying. So when we look at this, I'm telling you there's opportunity because there's so much illiquidity in this range. But going to something like Microsoft as well, showing you these levels of illiquidity. You get above these big ranges to where there's clear resistance. And then you start just moving quick. For instance, Microsoft went from 268 all the way to 277 in a day. We called that here on the channel. We talked specifically about that. So again, I'm loving Apple where it's at. Why? I think, bad wording. I don't think I'm looking because I know you have your consolidation period. Great. You got it. You're consolidating at highs. You're grinding at highs. You're breaking out of a pennant. You're making higher lows. You're making higher highs on smaller time frames, like the 1 hour chart, right? And you're pushing up. If you can get above 157, you have monster room. Simple as that. And then you would be looking for that downward test that you've been testing so many times, all the way back from all-time highs, back from January. Yeah, this is all-time highs, right? All the way back up towards 164, which comes back in line with our targets. I'm not just pulling these out of my ass. I'm showing you how we come to these conclusions. So again, that's what I'm looking at Apple. Absolutely love them. I'm sitting on a few of these. We called it in Discord. Was a great play short-term for today, but I think there's a longer-term trade coming in here as well. Now, again, I still want to say, I love Google. I love what they're doing. I still believe in the upside. I still think you have room probably back to a 40100 test. I'm going to tell you that right now. Next up, Amazon. Now, I want to check where Amazon is just so I don't give you too much hope. Now, Amazon, again, oh my gosh, I got to stretch because this one, she has legs. That's all I got to say. So when you look at Amazon, as I'm going over this, I want to tell you 102.5. When you look at Amazon, I want you to think, I want you to put it on your phone. I want you to say, hey Siri, remind me when Amazon hits 102.5, and don't you dare repeat that back to me. Okay. Now, when it reminds you and it tells you if you break 102.5, I am telling you, you have a clear shot path back to 109. Just like we talked about previously when you broke 102.5. That's a major level. Where are you coming back to? Your swing lows you had back here, all the way back from basically May through essentially June 30th. Going back even further, your previous swing highs, you had all the way back here. When? In 2018. Flash, I don't even know what I was doing in 2018, but what I do know is Amazon was getting rejected at 102.5, the key level, or whatever it was pre-split. So again, Amazon, if you mount 102.5, I'm telling you, pucker up because you got room to do some damage. Okay, that's what we like there. Now, I'm going to slow things down and I'm going to take things a little bit of a boomer way for you. Okay, For all my boomers out there, I know you're excited. You're like, Tyler, what's going on with this market? I'm not really a tech guy. I don't really know what to do. Where do I put my money? First of all, boomer, I can't tell you where to put your money for the 500 millionth time, so stop DMing me on Twitter. But what I will tell you is we look at Boeing, and you guys know, what do we say about Boeing day in and day out? What do we say about her, right? She makes us act up. That's what she does. We tell you every day, this is the strongest name in the Dow. Okay, let's look at the Dow for a second. We're going to come back to Boeing. We're going to come right back to you, baby. So hold on here, right? So when we look here at the Dow, first of all, dear God, looks beautiful. Thank you for answering my prayers, for giving me an index that looks like it's absolutely about to bust. Now, if you start to make a lower low, stay out of the Dow. Spoiler alert, really easy to understand that. But let me tell you, if you start to break up, if you can start to get the breakout here, Boeing is going to go discount double check absolutely freaking bananas. Let me tell you, Boeing is the strongest name in the Dow. We've seen the trend flip, right? We had a bullish, I think it's actually called a bullish rectangle. I really don't know what to consider it, but Boeing continues to do this sideways trending. You break to highs, sideways trend, then break up. You did it again here. Sideways trend, you broke up, mounted, pushed back up. Guess what? Sideways trend, breakout, mount, about the 214.7 range and trying to break up. I mean, when we look at Boeing, we've been tracking this thing since 170. Feels like a lifetime ago. Ali, I feel like I've known Boeing longer than I've known you. Okay, and you were my Valentine. But I'm telling you, Boeing right here, it might be my new Valentine for next year because this thing looks bananas. You're at the weekly 200 SMA. If you can break, and this has been our target for a while, around 225, 226, that's your short-term target right now, which I believe it has about $10 of upside. We love to see it. If you can break above this, I believe you are in territory to quote unquote start cooking, people. This is a weekly downtrend that you've broken out. I want to make sure you understand this. You were in a downtrend all the way from 2019. Congratulations. You have erupted out of this. Nothing but buyers on the Dow are going into Boeing. Right now, we're seeing a constant demand. Why and when was the catalyst for this demand? Remember, we talked about it here. China, China, China. Don't call me Donald Trump, but let me tell you, China's reopening has been one of the biggest catalysts when it comes to Boeing because the reopening and the major flights they have coming out of there. Airbus as well. And so when we look what's happening here, we get to go to something like the daily time frame to find some of these supply levels, but we have to go way back. That's the thing. So we're seeing these major levels are breaking above. We're just churning right now, just absolutely doing some damage. And I'm going to tell you, right? Some people, they may not like it, right? But again, what do you get when you come to this channel? You get the God's honest truth, whether you like it, whether you hate it. So you have upside all the way into the 230 range, which is the top of this next supply. And then you're going to start cooking more and you have more. So that's what we like here. So we're looking for 226, 227 here to the 200 weekly on Boeing, right? The 200 weekly as simple moving average. That's what we care about, or the moving average, whatever one. It's the same thing though. SMA, MA is the same exact thing. So that's what we're looking at there. Going into the rest of the market, there's not too much else that really is catching my attention. That's getting me fired up, getting me zoinked, whatever you may say. We do have a few earnings coming in tonight, but that's my opinion there. Now, and I wanted to wait to this end so we can have the most data possible. We still have 20 minutes left in the days, and I'll be posting these. And I do post them now every night. The biggest orders on the market. So what we're gonna do really quick, just showing you a visual what's happening from the S&P, and you're seeing, right? I love to go premiums to the highest. You got some big put orders coming in now on SPY near these highs, right? You need to understand that. These are some deep in the money plays that are coming in 428. Not too worried about that. For a majority of the day, you saw a lot of buyers coming in the market though. We saw a lot of buyers, okay? So you need to focus on that. Just because some of these are big does not necessarily mean that they're the most important, specifically when you look at where they're at. So you got to understand the counter trade to that as well. So there goes both ways, and you also need to see the time. So I don't like to confuse anybody, if you will, but it is worth mentioning you do have a fat order coming on the SPY puts. Next up, Qs. Qs stays relatively bullish, like we said yesterday. When we look at flow, in my opinion right now, our focus has got to be tech, because tech has led us where we've been right now. Like, what have we been saying since January? Tech leads the way, tech leads the way, tech leads the way. And when tech leads the way, you get your strongest reaction on the markets. Why? Because tech is where a bulk of money is traded to a risk on mentality. When risk is on, that means that investors are looking to get a little bit risky, stay out of the dollar, and they're looking to put their money in the market, specifically in riskier assets. And that's what's happened with Qs since this run. And right now, the money still flows in the same direction. Giving you a visual on SPX. Again, here, you have some big orders, but you also have some very big orders to the upside. It's going both ways. And this guy right here, I'm pretty positive this is the same buyer. Okay, 4,400 and 4,300 calls. What a monster buy. Around $70 million in calls on SPX set up for December. Now, it's dated. Don't get me wrong. That's a leap. That's a big boy. But I'm telling you right now, someone is looking long, and I'm not talking about my schlong. So that's what we're looking at specifically here when it comes to the book. Looking at TLT, you saw some downside orders, but still upside coming in, which I'll go over those charts here in a second as well. But that's our viewpoint there, giving VIX also, just to be transparent, but it's really mixed. A lot of calls coming on VIX, but let's talk about this. Now, last thing I'm going to leave you with before I let you out of here. Okay, VIX, what's going on here? You're really doing nothing. Everyone's been saying, oh, VIX is so low, it has to go up. Spoiler alert, all those people, all those bulls, all those bears, guess what happened? You popped up, it came right back down. This wasn't the big breakout we all thought it was. Spoiler alert. DXY, everyone's like, Tyler, you're getting the breakout on DXY, you look bullish here, it's going to bring the market down. Like I said, the dollar is disconnected from the economy, the stock market specifically. Okay, when we were at 109, remember when we were tracking the dollar, and I tried to tell everyone, when you were at 109, this is when it was relevant. Now, not so much, right? Because you've been getting devalued from Japan, Turkey, China, the petrodollar. I can go on and on how DXY is getting devalued. So you can't blindly follow the dollar. You need to understand that, okay? The dollar does look strong. It does look bullish. You're bouncing out of support. This is the second most important support, probably to 109. But so far, you do look good on the dollar, but I'm not basing my trades based on the dollar. I have to wait for confirmation, right? If I'm going to turn into a bear, once again, I'll repeat myself till the day I die. What do we have to do to be bearish? You got to make a new low. You have to make a lower low. Read my lips. Lower low. Okay, you haven't made a lower low. So get the bear theory, crumble it up, shove it up your ass. I don't care. But stop thinking about it, okay? I'm telling you right now. Going a little bit deeper, TLT. This is one thing that sparked my interest on the day. TLT continued to get a breakdown on the day, but you are getting a bounce near the end of the day. It's also interesting that TLT is dipping, and then you started getting a lot of these bigger orders coming in on TLT near the end of the day. Okay, very interesting. You started to get the big orders here on TLT, like I said, at the end of the trading day. The biggest orders here all came in near the end of the day. Love to see it. So keep your eyes open there. The only concerning part that I'm really looking at is when it comes to the yields, the 10 and the 30. The 10-year still is pretty much as bullish as it gets, erupting to the upside. If we look also what's happening here to the 10 and 30-year inversion, you're still on track and you're all close to inverting once again at 99% still. That's the only worrisome part on the markets when we look at bonds, but that's it for me right now. Tomorrow you have PPI data coming out. Very interesting. I think I think the data is just gonna come out the same trend that we had, if not lower right here specifically, in my opinion. That's my viewpoint. If you have any questions, comment down below. Again, the newsletter and the Instagram are down below also. Make sure y'all check those out. We're having more updates. I'm trying to get as much free information, educational content to you every single day. Have a good one, traders. See you tomorrow.